Prepping up for the IELTS reading section, the section where your reading and comprehension skills are put to test. Well, the first advice any IELTS expert would give you is increasing your reading speed, since you get limited time to solve questions. This brings me to the topic of this video, skimming, a technique that helps you to read faster. How? Simple. You don't read and understand each and every word of the passage. It's a strategic, selective reading method in which you focus on identifying the key or important points in the passage, so as to get a general idea of what the passage is about and to see how the content is laid out. And how do you do that? Like I said earlier, you don't read every single word of the given text. You move your eyes quickly through the passage, deliberately skipping text that provides details, stories, data, or other elaboration. Let's understand better with the help of a sample passage. All right, so this is our passage. It's lengthy and it does look a bit intimidating. Like I said earlier, reading and trying to understand every single word of this passage will take up a lot of your time, which is why we are going to skim read it. For long passages like these ones, you should spend 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes skimming the passage before looking at the questions. So you can see there are 3 paragraphs here. 1, 2, and 3. Let's skim read and highlight the main points in each paragraph of the passage. Ready? Let's begin. This is paragraph 1. Remember, we don't have to read every word of it. We just have to quickly move our eyes over the text to pick out the main points. First of all, always give special attention to the first and the last sentence of a paragraph, as they often contain the main idea. The first and the last sentence. All right. So when I was skimming through it, these words caught my attention and I underlined them. Let's begin. Scientists discovered how memories are made. Brain makes 2 copies of every event. Like I said, the first sentence should be read carefully and then you can speed up looking only at the important words. Brain doubles up. Always pay attention to the text which is in quotes because it shows the text is important. 2 memories. 1 for present. 2nd for long term. And finally, findings from MIT and from Japan. All right. The title of the passage tells us that the text is about how memories are made, and paragraph 1 tells us how exactly it's done. In fact, all you need to know is in the first sentence. That's why I said it's a good practice to read the first and the last sentences of a paragraph carefully. This paragraph talks about just one thing, that brain makes 2 copies of every event. It's all over it. You can see here. 2 copies. Here it is. Brain doubles up. 2 memories. 1 present. 2nd for long term. So the main idea or takeaway of this paragraph is that brain makes 2 memories of every event. So you can make a note of it here. Let's write it here. Brain makes 2 copies. So that you remember. Keep the notes as short as possible. Try to write just 2 to 5 keywords. Now let's move on to the next paragraph. All right, these are the areas I focused on. 2 parts of the brain. Hippocampus, cortex, case of Henry. Let's skip all of it. We don't need to go into details. And then scientists decided something on the basis of that case. This is important. They decided that memories formed in hippocampus and then moved to the cortex, where they are packed. All right, did you see? In this paragraph too, the first and the last sentences give us the main information. Overall, second paragraph talks about two parts of the brain, hippocampus and cortex. It also talks about the medical case of a man named Henry. On the basis of this case, scientists decided that memories are formed in hippocampus, which are then moved to cortex. So you see, we deliberately skipped the text that provided details or stories or other elaboration. For this paragraph, we can write two parts. Henry, memories formed in hippocampus, moved to cortex. All right. Let's move on to the last paragraph. Okay, it's a long one, but don't get intimidated. Okay, I highlighted these parts. New experiments carried out on mice. So all this talks about the experiments that were carried out on mice. Skip all of it since we are not going into details as of now. Moving on, this study, according to someone, is a significant advance. And it also found something related to the long memory. Long-term memory. Okay, the third paragraph talks about some experiments researchers did on mice. So if you get any question that has mice in it, you know which part to go to. This paragraph also tells us that this study was a significant advancement and it also found something about the long-term memory. Remember, we'll go into the details while solving the questions. For this paragraph, you can write mice experiment, significant advancement, findings about long-term memory, right? And with this, we have skimmed through the entire passage. So what exactly have we done? We have just created a mind map of what lies where so that later on, while solving the questions, we know which part we have to jump to. That's what skimming is all about. Extracting the essence of the author's main messages rather than the finer points. It's just a process to make oneself familiar with the passage. You need to look into the details only while solving the questions. Let's recapitulate everything we have learned. Skimming is a reading technique in which you don't read every word. Instead, you move your eyes quickly through the passage in order to identify the important or main points. So, skip all the text that provides details, stories, data, or other elaboration. Always read the first and the last sentences of a paragraph carefully, as they often contain the main idea. Also, pay attention to text in quotes, italics, or any other special formatting, since it shows the text is important. And lastly, make short notes next to each paragraph using just 2 to 5 keywords so that you remember what each paragraph contains. Understood? So that's all for this video lesson. Take care. For personalized live IELTS classes at affordable prices, enroll at yunolearning.com.